Please note that police chases can be dangerous and unpredictable. We do not condone reckless driving or any other illegal activity. Our videos are intended for educational and entertainment purposes only.
Directly behind him anymore, so that leads me to believe that perhaps they're going into surveillance mode because it's been reckless, and is now transitioning though here possibly onto the 405 freeway. I'll know for sure once he completes the transition, but there's
CHP is following this vehicle, Eliana?
So it's Lakewood Sheriffs, yeah, Lakewood Sheriffs, but because it is on the freeway, Annabelle, normally the CHP would take over. So it's a situation where the CHP is probably getting ready to get behind it. And if this isn't a Porsche, I'm going to say it's a Maserati. But definitely, you know, on the higher end, of course.
Yeah, I was going to say it's definitely a high-performance car, and this driver's really putting it through its paces here, it looks like. Do we know, we know it's a stolen vehicle, or that's according to Lakewood Sheriff. Do we know how they happen to pick up on it? Is it low-jacked, or is there some sort of tracking device on it?
Yeah, it's unclear, but normally when you have a car this expensive, normally you do throw on the low jack on it for situations.
Still
like
managing to, well, okay. All of a sudden he's blocked in here.
Yeah, we really hadn't seen him encounter a situation like that before where he was boxed in. So I actually wanted to see how he would react. And it looks like he got lucky because the car moved in front of him. So it wasn't a situation where he had to try to scramble out of there. But it's still continuing at pretty high speeds here, all things considered, for a very busy Thursday night commute here coming through the city of Carson.
Okay, and that was just a red light. So what would be protocol right here? We know that there's a bunch of drivers out there right now going eastbound on Carson Street. What would be protocol to try to attempt to stop this driver here, Eliana?
So pit maneuvers are definitely an option with a car this size, but unfortunately, he hasn't really been going slow enough for that to happen. The other option is, of course, a spike strip, but they would pretty much have to determine what street he's going to be on to know where to deploy those spike strips. And at this point, there's really no rhyme or reason to anything that he's done. Oh, look at this. He's driving on the sidewalk. Oh, how incredibly dangerous in a very busy part of town here in Carson, just off of Carson and Main. What I was wondering earlier, how he would react when he was put under pressure like that. Turns out it's not a good answer because he was willing. Oh, spun out just a little bit there, losing control. Let's see if he crashes. No, he's able to regain control and driving into what looks like an apartment complex and is under the carport there. Let's see if we see anyone running. There we go, driver door opening, and he's running. Sure enough, running towards the apartments, but fortunately, deputies are very close behind.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to get ahead of him.
Yeah. Trying to see if there is, do we see him running there, going up the stairs?
You know,
sorry, Annabelle, I missed your question, but this is the Sheriff's Department moving in right now. And the helicopter is actually giving them a description of what this guy was wearing so that they're able to find him. And he's giving them the address, of course, so that other deputies can respond to the scene and try to... Oh, there he is. Yep, there he is.
You know, it's interesting. They never went into tracking mode on this, even with his speeds coming down Carson Boulevard there. Is that the top floor? Does he look to be... Eliana, can you tell? Is he trying to get into an apartment there? I know he jumped the fence.
Yeah, I would think so. He jumped that small fence there, but from there, as we are coming around, it's kind of difficult to tell what's there. I don't know that he really could have gone anywhere here. There's what looks like perhaps some sort of little tent or something, and that's where he's at. He's in just outside of that person's apartment.
Yeah. Well,
we'll see how long he will stay in there. But yeah, you're right. That's a tent. Makes you wonder if it's like a utilities they're trying to cover so that they're not an eyesore. The air conditioning units are just adjacent to that. But Eliana, to the best of your knowledge, only one person bailed out of that car?
Yeah, we only saw one person get out, Colleen, and I didn't hear the police helicopter, the Lakewood police helicopter, say that he saw anybody else. And he's clearly focusing his attention on the driver, who we know is hiding in that tent. So this is really going to be on the side of law enforcement because they know where he's at, because obviously the police helicopter saw him. So what they're going to do now is just set up a perimeter around this apartment complex to guarantee that he's not going to be able to exit. And then once they feel comfortable, they can get up there, possibly even bring up a police canine if they have it available. They'll, of course, have less than lethal weapons at their disposal to try to get this guy to come out of, again, what looks like a tent to me, just outside of one of the apartments here in what is a very large apartment complex here, just off of Moneta Drive and 218th Street here in Carson.
You know, Eliana, just across from that place where he's hiding, that little tent there, there's a door. I'm wondering if, you know, people live there or if that's some type of access. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I want to say it's one of the apartments, Annabelle, because if you look at all the other doors, they look very similar, these red doors. So I think that's probably somebody's apartment. I can see some patio furniture there as well. And looks like this guy really just ran out of real estate. There was nowhere else for him to hide other than that tent. So unknown what else may be in there, if there's anything in terms of something that he could use as a weapon. But officers, of course, are going to approach very carefully when the time is right. And once again, as I was saying, really time is on their side now because they know he's hunkered down there. He's not going to be able to escape this situation with the number of law enforcement personnel that are now surrounding this apartment complex.
And Ileana, one of the biggest problems here is they don't know who the driver was at this point. The report was a stolen vehicle. They don't know anything about this driver. He could be armed. They just don't know. So this may be one of the safest spots for him. They can keep an eye on this. I don't know if you can see it just in the corner in the middle of your screen there. There's sort of a little gray, almost like a pup tent. And we watch the guy go in and zip himself into this.
Could you move a little?
Yeah, it's, you know, what's really interesting also is that we don't know if this person is carrying some type of weapon. Or what is inside that tent there. So, of course, we're monitoring that. And, of course, we're also being very careful with our camera.
Ileana, are they, they're not evacuating any of the building, are they?
At this point, they're not, Colleen, but you can see that there's actually people just still kind of walking around. But what the sheriff's deputies are going to do now is, of course, surround this apartment complex. They want to make sure that when they approach this guy, that they possibly have a shield, that they have, of course, less than lethal and lethal weapons available to them. Because, as you said, they don't know who this person is. And the other thing we don't know about this is how was that vehicle stolen? Was it just a simple crime of opportunity where the person left the keys inside the car and this person jumped in? Or was it something like an armed carjacking where, of course, the person would have had some sort of weapon? Is it a situation like that? So that's what's unclear to us right now, but of course is very clear to these law enforcement officers. So that's why they're going to approach the situation appropriately. But most of the time, they just treat everyone as if they are armed, just out of an abundance of caution.
You know, what I'm noticing with the demeanor of these officers is that they're not in a rush to get this person. They're very calm. They're, you know, being very careful about their move that they're making.
Absolutely, Annabelle, and that's what I was saying when it comes to time is on their side, because there's no sense of urgency now because nobody is really threatened at this time because he's hunkered down. He's just in that little pop-up tent there where really there's not going to be anyone near him. Of course, there's always the possibility that somebody could come out of an apartment and that would change the situation. But for now, they know that he's hiding there and the police helicopter still has a clear sight.